Let's go! Mailbag Friday, where we respond to your comments in an eventful week of LSU football news. But before we get to that, we've got to talk about the legend that is Big Dad Brad. I keep doing that. I'm not going to do another take. His name is Big Bad Brad. Big Bad Brad, okay? And you might recognize someone that might be leading us to the national championship next season. Let's get to it. Enjoy this hashtag content.
To all my TikTok fans, Big Bad Brad here, back by popular demand. Like father, like son. Let's see what we got. Doink!
Big Bad Brad with the dad energy. I love this guy's TikTok. I just love TikTok in general. But it's funny. You look at Max, and it's just good to see some father-son loving right here. And then look at this yellow shirt. No logo, no nothing. I mean, it looks as if this guy just got done mowing his lawn, and he said, let's get on out there with the kiddo and throw the pigskin for a little bit. And Brad Johnson's TikTok is nothing short of incredible. So this is what's funny. You see the soccer goal right here? Someone sent me this clip this morning, and like, well, why are they throwing it to the goalpost? Well, it's hard. This is a small target to hit the goalpost. It's funny that there is a soccer goal here, because this is actually a more popular exercise in soccer. So what a lot of soccer players do to practice on their accuracy is that they have crossbar challenges. Now, if you're a Ted Lasso fan, you saw that. That was probably your introduction to it. But a lot of soccer players and soccer trick shot guys and gals actually practice hitting the crossbar from all different distances. So essentially, they're doing the same thing. And it's funny, they both released this football at the same time. And this is the big difference between the two of them. This is the dad energy you gotta love. And and my dad is like this. A lot of dads out there know what I'm talking about. A lot of former athletes get this belly, and it just looks like he let himself go, but it's not true. This is hard rock. I guarantee you, if any of you ever touched your dad or your uncle's belly, I know that sounds so weird, but I'm telling you, former really good athletes that get a belly like this is solid. This is a cinder block right here, just under his stomach. I'm dead serious. There's just so much good dad energy. Release point, everything. I'm not a quarterback evaluator. I can't discuss release point or anything like that. And, of course, this video is zoomed in. But, I mean, just look at this. So this is a difference. This is the dad energy. He is cocky enough. Steph Curry shooting it from midcourt and turning his head. Damian Lillard does this too. He knows it's hitting the bar. Max Johnson, he doesn't have that dad energy confidence just yet. He just doesn't have it. So that's the funny thing about this entire clip. And then you get the LeBron knee lift. Not quite as high as LeBron. That's just a great celebration. But you see, this is what Max needs to work on, man. We need more energy. We need you to match Pops. God, I love this. I love Brad Johnson so much. I really do. I mean, you could just tell he's just enjoying life. He reminds me so much. Obviously, my dad is not the same kind of athlete, but my dad has a very similar, just open personality, and this is just great to see. Doink. But we're not done with Brad. So here's Big Bad Brad. Look at this guy's basketball trick shot game. Oh, this guy is great. And he's got the hat. Oh, man. if we were ranking Tampa Bay Buccaneer Super Bowl quarterbacks, Brad Johnson's number 1, and that other guy who just won it is number 2. I don't remember his name. Because can that dude do this? No, you can't. And then the dad energy. I freaking love it. Brad, you're, man. Alrighty. Let's get to your comments. Look, we had the TJ Finley transfer, and the comment section, of course, was just perfect. Hashtag sarcasm. So I want to start with the best comment, period, and it's from John B. I think TJ is a class act. Wishing him much success in his future in football and life. There you go. Classy response to a classy exit from TJ Finley. And his response, his release was classy. Now, before I get into some of these TJ comments, I don't understand, and I've joked about this on so many live streams, okay? I have been labeled both a TJ lover and a TJ hater, okay? And what I'm not going to do is, entertain too many comments that are just wild, okay? So, look, I try my best to be nuanced. I talked about race at the end of my last video, and then, of course, it became a dumpster fire in the comment section. So, like I said in the video, that's why live streams are the best way to do it, because it's a live discussion and it makes for better conversation. Okay, so I'm going to save all of that for the live stream on Saturday night. This is from Brad. You can't teach touch and pocket presence. You either have it or you don't. Now, here's the thing. We're going to go through as many of these comments as we possibly can. So if I'm speaking really quickly, it's because I want to get to as many as possible. I disagree with this from Brad. You can't teach touch and pocket presence. Touch is obviously something a little bit tougher. That goes along with kind of sort of accuracy. And TJ just doesn't have elite touch or elite pocket presence. I do think quarterbacks, though, could get a lot better at pocket presence with time. And there's a few reasons why. The first is touch is something you can actually work on in practice. Pocket presence, you really can't, because you can't get hit. Like you saw in the spring game, defenses rarely blitz. You're not seeing exotic blitz packages. And just the feel of a pocket, you really can only get that with game reps. And a perfect example of pocket presence developing was Joe Burrow. Now, I understand he's the greatest, LSU quarterback of all time, but in 2018, he had really good pocket presence, and then in 2019, he had the best pocket presence I've ever seen from a quarterback at any level. I mean, he was really that exceptional at that very thing, so that shows you can get better. Now, of course, Joe Burrow, you would say, well, that's an outlier. There's plenty of quarterbacks that have gotten better at pocket presence. Drew Brees was good at it early in his career, and then he was excellent at it towards the end of his career because he needed to be. So I disagree with this. Now, there are some things you can't teach, such as arm strength. You either have that or you don't. Your arm can get slightly stronger with certain exercises according to different quarterback evaluators. Once again, I'm not Quincy Avery. I'm not James Washington or JT O'Sullivan or anyone like that. But arm strength is something you can't really teach. Obviously, overall elusiveness and speed is something else you can't teach. But touch and pocket presence are actually two things you can get better with time. Mr. Big Boy for Life, it's impossible to keep 5 alpha dog quarterbacks on your team, especially when Walker Howard gets here next year. The bottom line is, no matter how you feel about the quarterbacking situation, none of these quarterbacks have the ceiling that Walker Howard has. I think he's really special. When I watch him, I see him, the St. Thomas More offense in Lafayette that they run is very similar to that of the 2019 LSU team. And I saw Walker Howard have an insane amount of pocket presence, an insane amount of touch on his throws, while also having a pretty great arm. He runs sub 4.7 in the 40, so that's pretty fast for a quarterback. So he is a dual threat quarterback that has the ability to scramble and make things happen. He lit up some really good defenses with some D1 guys on it. Of course, they won the state championship, and I mean, he's special. And what's wild, this is what really blows me away, is that I was really skeptical when Walker Howard committed before his junior season. I knew he was great. I know he's a son of an LSU great at quarterback at Jamie Howard. But the bottom line is this dude, in his first year as a starter, it's kind of rare to be a 5-star quarterback and not be a starter by your sophomore season. But he backed up Caleb Holstein, who went to Louisiana Tech. So he was backing up a really good quarterback. And then, even there was so much pressure on him to perform in high school, even though he had the LSU offer and he was already committed. To have the season he had this past season is truly incredible. And I understand he had Jack Besh on the outside, who's just phenomenal, and he made so many big plays for them. But if you actually watch Walker Howard, and I really do mean this, watch him just process information really fast and go to receivers not named Jack Besh in this offense that they ran. Dude, he's incredible. And I think as a true freshman, he will not win the job, but I think in 2023, he will win the starting quarterback job. Now, could Max Johnson and Garrett Nussmeier have a lot to say about that? Abso-freaking-lutely, and both of them are really freaking good. I love Max Johnson. I love what I saw against Ole Miss in Florida. I also love Garrett Nussmeier. I was not as on fire with Garrett Nussmeier as a lot of you, most notably Eric, who is the president of the PHL Garrett Nussmeier fan club. But I just, when I watched him, it just didn't blow me away the same way Walker Howard does. But goodness gracious, there were some things Garrett Nussmeier did in the spring game that caused my jaw to drop to the floor. Yes, he threw 3 horrible interceptions. All of them were bad. But then again, what I saw was a ridiculously high ceiling. The throw he made to Kayshawn in the second half of that game is elite. That is an NFL throw. Then, in the first half, a bullet he delivered to Jontre Kirkland, which resulted in a fumble, was probably the best throw of the first half. So, I could make a strong case that Garrett Nussmeier had the best throw of both halves. And, of course, he had that touchdown there at the end. So, look, I just think Walker Howard's that special. I really do. I think he's going to be so undeniably great that by year 2, it's going to be one of those things where he's just going to outright win the job. And then hopefully 2023, 2024, my prediction of him leading us to a college football playoff actually does happen. This is Lionel, and I appreciate comments like this. Carter, glad to see you say what everyone else missed. I don't know exactly what he's referencing with this comment, but these are the type of comments that I love, because my channel is just perspective based. I look at this stuff as deeply and try to make my points as clearly as I possibly can. And getting comments like that really makes me feel like I'm doing what I want, or doing what I was set out to do when I started this channel. So Lionel, I appreciate the support. DBU7, I'm hearing through the grapevine, Dan Mullen trying to get his hands on TJ. Wouldn't be the first time Dan Mullen got a 3-star quarterback out of Louisiana and led him to very great things. Of course, that is Dak Prescott. I could do a whole video on Dak Prescott and Les Miles and LSU. I have a lot of thoughts about that. Look, and there was another comment from AJ who said he's concerned about TJ becoming special down the road. I say this all the time. Part of what makes you as a quarterback is the first time in your life being told that you're not good enough. And that is essentially what happens as a quarterback when you transfer, because if you're a quarterback and you were the starter, you would never transfer. And in high school, you were never really told you weren't good enough. And that's why when I think about the Joe Burrows and the Baker Mayfields and the Justin Fields, and when I see, fan bases say, well, God, we should have just stuck with those guys or picked those guys, and they went on to end up being unbelievable quarterbacks. And oh my goodness, what was our coaching staff thinking? The bottom line is all three of those guys got better in large part because of that adversity. And all three of them would tell you that very thing. So, I know a lot of us and I know a lot of you feel this way. Oh, well, what if TJ goes to an SEC school and destroys us? Well, so what? Number one, he has a lot of work to do. And as much as I love TJ and as much as I want every player to succeed, it's going to take a lot of work. He's not ready right now to be a Division I quarterback. I always felt he was a junior or senior year type of guy, but like we said in yesterday's video, he had to play as a true freshman in an emergency situation. So, it's wild. It's wild that, a lot of you have your minds made up on TJ already. I understand because he did make a lot of mistakes and the turnovers are a big issue. But if he does end up going somewhere else and succeeding, it is in large part because of what happened to him at LSU. And that's the thing. You can't have revisionist history regarding stuff like this. We move on here to the videos we had earlier in the week regarding the final slot in the recruiting class, because the big news to start the week was Major Burns of Georgia was entering the portal. And then, I did a video the next day on your comments about we should spin the spot on an offensive lineman. And the only offensive lineman I could find that I think would be potentially worthy of the slot was a guy by the name of TJ Moore. And he does have a connection to LSU. I'll link the video down below, or you might be seeing it floated up here. I understand, and this will be the only comment. Let me see if there's another comment. Here's another one from Will. He says, we have no reason to get another offensive lineman this year. We have 5 starters back and guys like Bradford Cardell developing. We need a safety who could contribute immediately. So here's the thing. Major Burns didn't play much safety last season. Now, he played 6 games last season, but it wasn't a lot of meaningful snaps at safety. So, we don't know for sure if he could help out year one. I don't mind using the final slot on Major Burns for a few reasons. Number one is he's from Baton Rouge, and he obviously really wanted to be at LSU. Now, the story with Major Burns is that he was potentially and reportedly processed. In other words, LSU pulled his scholarship at the very last second. Not the very, very last second, but they processed him. They took his scholarship away, and they forced him to go elsewhere, and then he ended up going to another elite program in Georgia. You should never process an elite kid from Baton Rouge, okay? Now, think about that. We're talking about Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where your campus is located. Why do that? Because even if you're processing a 3-star kid from Baton Rouge, you need Baton Rouge. We need Baton Rouge. We need the high schools in Baton Rouge. If we don't have the players from there, we're not going to have as much success as we would probably like. So when you process a kid, don't you think that's going to leave a sour taste in those high school coaches' mouths when you do that? I never understood. If this is what happened to Major Burns, I can't say for fact that is what happened, but it is widely reported that is what happened. I don't know if Major Burns had some late change of heart and said I wanted to go to Georgia. That's a problem. For me, that is a major problem because, you can burn a lot of bridges by doing something like that, and this could be atonement for that. So, yeah, I just think that aspect of it is just wild. Now, as far as, offensive line or safety is not – I don't mind using the slot on a safety. And I understand Ed Orgeron has been on top of that for quite some time now. We do need some more depth at that position. I think they should draft Carter for the last spot. Oh, I'm down. Well, they wouldn't have to use a slot on me. I would just walk on. I'm an LSU graduate. I'm going to admit something here to you guys. Don't tell anyone. There was multiple times my freshman year of college, I walked to the LSU practice facility, and I lived on the other side of campus. I didn't have a car. And I walked to the LSU practice facility, and I would want to walk in and say, hey, can I walk on? Can I try out? But because I didn't have my high school film, we weren't, the high school I went to wasn't the best technical high school, so I didn't have any all 22 of my 5'9", 170-pound defensive tackle tape. I was 180, 190, as if that really matters. But it was my dream just putting the helmet and the pads on for LSU. I just got so much anxiety. I was so afraid to say no, and I wouldn't have. I don't have that same anxiety towards being told no, because when you do stand up for a while, you got to get used to that. But yeah, at the time, I was just, I don't know, I got nervous. So yeah, it's still my dream to dress up, dress out. I am older than Zach Van Rosenberg, so yeah, I would be a pretty old LSU football player, but I'd do anything to run out there for the purple and gold of LSU. It was my dream. There's a picture of me somewhere with my dad in an LSU uniform somewhere. I don't know. This is interesting, Carter. Thank you for processing Major Burns' MASH reference so we, your fans, could pull a scholarship. LOL or bus. I guess for every one of these mailbags, we're going to have a culture reference, right? So last week it was something about Mary with Leonard. What's up? And then this week it's MASH. Never seen an episode of MASH. Never. So I guess, I don't know. I've never seen something about Mary and I've never seen MASH. But I heard Major Burns was an epic character. Fuzzy! I love it when y'all do tuna steaks. You know what's funny, guys? I'm actually a little cold on the tuna steaks. And Haley still puts the magic on them. I just don't love them like I used to. Let's see. I got to hurry up and post this video. Major Burns is an awesome character on MASH. There we go. I know Ryan Clark was high on Major Burns. I think we should pass. John says we are sitting good with Sage Ryan coming in. Look, you know what's interesting about Sage Ryan is he's a 5-star defensive back. The last 2 5-star defensive backs as true freshmen exceeded expectations. They were like all-American level good in Elias Ricks and, of course, Sting. So can LSU make it 3 years in a row? We could really use Sage Ryan being a beast in year one. That's if, you know, that they see him as a safety. Some people just see him as a nickel corner, but we'll see. But here's a comment. Why would a team honor a commitment when the commitment doesn't have to stick to theirs? Good question, and I understand your logic. But this is the best way to describe this situation. I know a lot of people say, oh, Jack's looking at this like it's an apples-to-apples thing, which it's not, okay? Think of it this way. If you're a high school recruit, in order for you, you know, if you want to continue your athletic career while also continuing your academic career, you need a college to offer you a scholarship, okay? So the balance of power here is actually in the school. So if someone decommits, guess what? LSU is still going to be fine. Whereas if you're the commitment or you're the recruit and the school decides to pull your scholarship, that's a lot different, especially considering when processing happens at schools, they tend to do it later in the process, which makes it tougher for you to find another option. Now, here's the thing. Kids that get processed at LSU, they are more than likely really good recruits, and they could get another Division I offer and go somewhere pretty easily. But that's not the point. It is still bad to do that. It is not apples to apples. LSU, or whichever school, is in the position of power, whereas the commitment, yes, they could decommit, and we don't like it when kids decommit, but they're also 16, 15, 17 years old, whereas the people that are offering the scholarship are also adults. So you have that aspect of it as well. So this is not an apples-to-apples thing. This isn't the same thing as, Jack, if I asked you, hey, let's go to the movies, and you just back out, or I back out. That is something of little consequence, right? We'll both be fine just sitting at home watching Netflix. But this is a huge life-changing event. Family members move to whichever school you go to. Friends could potentially go with you to whichever school you go to. And then at the last second to say, no, we don't want you anymore, that is really, really bad. And, this is King Ulysses. Kaufman had a dominant run. So this is Donovan Kaufman, and this is a one point I'll make about this really quickly. Donovan Kaufman had he looks really good. He's a safety out of Vanderbilt. He's probably going to go to Auburn because that's where his head coach went. Donovan Kaufman was a 3-star out of Rummel. And from this point forward, if there's a 3-star out of Rummel, we should probably take him. There's Aaron Brule in Mississippi State. And then even if you look at Coy Moore, he exceeded expectations as a freshman. And Jamar Chase was also a 4-star out of Rummel. But he was obviously a top 100 recruit. He was a really good recruit. But he exceeded even 5-star expectations. He was a 6-7-star level player, a Biletnikoff winner at LSU. So, more often than not, especially in recent history, the Rummel Raiders produce some flat-out studs. So, next time, if there's a safety out of Rummel, we need to get him. And we'll see what happens with Logan Diggs, the 3-star running back who LSU tried to get there at the end, but he ended up going to Notre Dame. It is Power Hour LSU. Bam! I think we're doing Slam and Salmon tonight. Let's go.